Good afternoon, everybody. You were listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. My name is Payne Patchett, and this is game number 11 of the 2018 Varsity Baseball season and the first conference game between the Lake Stevens Vikings and the Mount Vernon Bulldogs here at Lake Stevens High School. The Vikings, they just had a 3-game win streak snapped last Friday against the Kamiak Knights by a final score of 6-4, while Mount Vernon was coming off arguably one of the best results in the conference this year, taking out top-ranked Monroe in both games that they've played this year. In other words, they swept them. It was a huge accomplishment by the Mount Vernon Bulldogs, and now they're going to have to face the Vikings off in a rematch from last year's Wesco 4A semifinal game in which the Vikings held Mount Vernon, the bases loaded, in the bottom of the 7th inning to hold on to a 5-4 win en route to a Wesco championship victory. The Lake Stevens Vikings coming into this game with a record of 4 wins and 6 losses with a .500 conference record of 3-3, while the Mount Vernon Bulldogs coming into this game with a record of 8 wins and 4 losses with a over 500 conference record of 4 wins and 2 losses, arguably with the help of the sweep of Monroe. When we come back, it will be the top of the first inning. We'll announce the lineups and we'll get this game started. All we know is that the starting pitchers for both teams, it will be Justin Troya, who will be starting in his third start in the last 4 games. And in his last start, he looked pretty promising. 6 1/3, striking out 8 batters en route to a 9-0 win over the Kamiak Knights in the first conference game between those two teams. And for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs, it'll be Riley Olmstead, a junior who is in his 3rd year in the starting rotation for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. When we come back, it'll be the top of the first inning again, and we'll get this game going between Lake Stevens and Mount Vernon. And we are now into the top of the first inning here between Lake Stevens and Mount Vernon. The starting pitcher for the Lake Stevens Vikings, pitching in 3 of the last 4 games for the Vikings, is number 12, Justin Troya. He is making his 6th start of the season. He is 2-1 with an ERA of 2.71. He brought it down from an ERA of 4.08 after a career performance against the Kamiak Knights earlier this week. The first pitch to the shortstop, number 11, Travis Oord, is a strike one looking. It is Travis, Travis, Oord, O-O-R-D, is the starting shortstop, number 11. The first 3 batters are players from last year's Mount Vernon team. The 0-1 pitch, a slow grounder, going to the second baseman, Braden Miller, who tosses it to the first baseman, Will Wentz, for the first out of the first inning. It will bring up the number 2 hitter, the center fielder, Ian Fitzgerald, for Mount Vernon. And the lineup for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs, Travis Oord, Ian Fitzgerald, the left fielder, Dylan Sir, spelled C-Y-R, his last name, the starting left fielder. The cleanup hitter is the second baseman, number 8, Sven Larson. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike one. And the number 5 spot is the starting third baseman, Ryan Morrill. And the number 6 spot is the starting pitcher, number 14, Riley Olmstead. And in the final 3 hitters are new players on the Mount Vernon varsity team. The 0-1 pitch will go upstairs for a ball 1. It is the new catcher, number 23, Finn Wilson. The number 8 hitter, the first baseman, number 17, Lane Harlan. And the number 9 hitter, the designated hitter, Skylar Jensen. The 1-1 pitch, foul ball over the Lake Stevens bleachers for a 1-ball and 2 strike count. In the number 9 spot, Skylar Jensen, he'll be the designated hitter for the starting right fielder, number 10, Dylan Carter. Troya ahead on the count on Fitzgerald, the 1-2. Line drive ball. This one going straight to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, right next to the second base bag. It'll bring up the second out of the first inning. And it'll bring up the number 3 hitter, the starting left fielder, number 24, Dylan Sir. It was Fitzgerald and Dylan Sir who are 2 of the top returning Mount Vernon players from last year's team in terms of hitting. Riley Olmstead, the top returner in terms of pitching. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Justin Troya coming off a performance last week where he threw 6 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits, no earned runs, walking 5 and striking out 5 in 103 pitches for his 2nd win of the year. The 0-1 pitch goes upstairs for a ball 1. A nice reach by the starting catchers, Trey Long. Defensively for Lake Stevens, on the mound is Justin Troya. Behind the plate is Trey Long. On the infield is Connor Bardew, Hunter Zalesko, Miller, and Wentz. The 1-1 pitch, it'll go out As the right fielder Tanner Lind will run for this one, but it'll go over the fence. 1 ball and 2 strike count. And the outfield is the left fielder Ben Pizer, the center fielder Christian LaPierre, and the right fielder Tanner Lind. Another 1 ball and 2 strike count for Justin Troya. The windup and the throw, fly ball. That one is playable. This one right near the fence, and is caught right in front of the Lake Stevens dugout by the first baseman Will Wentz. A 1-2-3 inning to start this game. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. In only 10 pitches, Justin Troya gets the job done in the top of the first, brings up the bottom half of the first inning with number 14, Riley Olmstead. He is making his 4th career start against the Lake Stevens Vikings, and he'll start off today against Ben Pizer, Trey Long, and Connor Bardew, with the first 3 batters in the bottom of the first. No score here at Lake Stevens High School. And we are now back in the bottom of the first inning. Lake Stevens coming up to the plate for the first time this afternoon after Justin Troya throws a 1-2-3 top of the first inning. The starting pitcher for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs is number 14, Riley Olmstead. As I mentioned earlier, he was in the Mount Vernon pitching rotation since he was a freshman and is making his 4th start against the Lake Stevens Vikings. First pitch to Ben Pizer goes outside for a ball 1. The left fielder with a .457 batting average, 16 hits and 35 at-bats and 4 RBIs this year. It is 4 for 4 in stolen bases. The 1-0 pitch. Strike 1 looking. This one hit the top part of the strike zone to the catcher Finn Wilson. Olmstead, the windup and the 1-1. Hard hit ball. This will go in foul territory on the right field line as the right fielder Dylan Carter runs for it. And the defensive lineup for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs: on the mound is Riley Olmstead, and behind the plate is Finn Wilson. On the infield at third base is Ryan Morrill. Shortstop is Travis Ord. Second baseman is Sven Larson. The 1-2 outside for a ball 2. It's Finn Wilson getting that one and immediately smacking the glove to his thigh as he is crouching down right behind home plate. At first base is Lane Harlan. And on the outfield, Sir and Fitzgerald once again at left and center field. The 2-2 pitch, outside ball 3. And at right field is number 10, Dylan Carter. Ben Pizer, he's been hit once. He has scored 12 runs. He has hit 2 doubles and 2 triples and has been walked 4 times. Check swing. This one around the same spot as where the last couple pitches were for Riley Olmstead. And the Vikings get their first base runner of the game on a leadoff walk in the bottom of the first inning. Brings up the starting catcher, number 5, Trey Long. Coming into this game with a .391 batting average, 9 hits and 23 at-bats with 3 RBIs and 4 doubles on the year. First pitch, a hard hit ball. This one going into right field. Dylan Carter, he is going back a ways a couple of steps and will make the catch for the first out of the bottom of the first inning. On the first pitch that Trey Long will see. It will bring up the number 3 hitter, number 8, Connor Bardew. He is one of 2 Lake Stevens Vikings players who have played the Mount Vernon Bulldogs this year. The other player is the on-deck hitter, number 34, Will Wentz. Currently, he has a team-high .500 batting average with 13 hits and 26 at-bats and 9 RBIs on the year with and his perfect 5 for 5 on stolen bases. First pitch by Riley, strike 1 right down the middle. And Connor Bardew, back in October, he originally signed to play for Skagit Valley College up in Mount Vernon. But due to a coaching change, he has decided that he was going to pick a different college to go to. And went over to California over the weekend and decided to pick the College of Marine, I think that's how you say it, down in Kentfield, California, right near San Francisco. That's decided that's where he's going to go for college baseball next year. Time out by Mount Vernon after Riley Olmstead throws it to the first baseman Lane Harlan to try and get Ben Pizer out at first base. He goes over to the mound, is walking and talking with Riley Olmstead. The rest of the lineup consists of the number 5 spot, the center fielder Christian LaPierre. At the 6th spot, right fielder Tanner Lind. At the 7th spot is the shortstop Hunter Zalesko. At the 8th spot, hitting for the pitcher Justin Troya, will be number 9 Tate Brust. And at the 9th spot is the second baseman Braden Miller. And Olmsted, the 0-1. This one, he'll get past the glove of the third baseman Ryan Morrill. It looked like he had an easy 5-4-3 double play there, but it looked like he miscalculated how fast the ball was going towards him. It never touches his glove, and it'll count as a 1-out single for Connor Bardou, and the Vikings have runners on first and second base. And it'll bring up the cleanup hitter, number 34, Will Wentz.
Right on top of that.
And Will Wentz, he has been stuck to hitting behind the plate over the past week and a half because he's been having some arm discomfort, has not been able to pitch. His last start, which was supposed to be last Friday against Kamiak, first pitch will go upstairs for a ball 1. Will Wentz behind the plate, though, he has 8 hits and 31 at-bats for a .258 batting average. His hit is tied for the team lead for hitting 4 doubles. He has scored 5 runs, he has been hit 3 times, and he has been walked 5 times this year. Olmsted looking over at second, the 1-0, a line drive ball. This one getting past the glove of Ord. Pizer running around third base. And the throw home will be cut off by the third baseman, Ryan Morrill. And on a 1-0 pitch, Will Wentz hits an RBI single, and the Lake Stevens Vikings have an early 1-0 lead. And it'll bring out the number 5 hitter, center fielder Christian LaPierre. Coming into this game, he's with a .231 batting average and 6 RBIs on the year. He's been walked 4 times, has hit a double, and has scored 5 runs on the year. Bardou at second, Will at first. Olmsted looking over at second, cannot throw. The reserves for the Lake Stevens Vikings, we have Jacob Gordon, Alec Ibachuan, Jacob Wardla, Devin McWaters, Theron Perkins, Bryce Mefford, Aaron Lampinen, and Tommy Lindgren. Theron Perkins, he was in the batting cages earlier today, might be used as a pinch hitter. See if his back is still bugging him. First pitch, foul chopper towards the on-deck circle for Mount Vernon for a 0-1 count. And as a late addition by Josh White, the junior varsity team, earlier today it was announced that their game against Mount Vernon's junior varsity team up at Sherman Anderson Field in Mount Vernon was canceled. And so JV had a little bit of a practice, and Josh White decided to bring in Bailey Corley as a last-minute reserve. The 0-1 pitch, strike 2 looking. Riley Olmsted using the curveball. And he has used against the Vikings over the past couple of seasons for an 0-2 count. And so Bailey Corley might be used one way or another in this game. Might be used as a last-minute addition on the mound, try to get some more appearances for the varsity team. The 0-2 pitch, fly ball. This one going to right field. Back goes Dylan Carter. Carter going back for it, and it'll hit the wall. Connor is riding around third base. He's going to score. Will's riding around third base. He's going to score. Christian's going to get to third. It'll be a rundown between home and third, and Ryan Morrill is tagged. Ryan Morrill tags Will Wentz on the base pass between third and home. And Christian LaPierre sees that there's no one at home, tries to run for it, and Ryan Morrill throws to Riley Olmsted, who tags LaPierre before he slides home, and the inning is over. And a timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White go and talk to the home plate umpire. That was a crazy play. It'll be... It's actually hard to try and say what that was. It looked like it would be an RBI double. Connor scores. Will is tagged out. It would be a 9-2-5. A nice throw by Dylan Carter to bring that into the infield. It's a nice throw by the outfield. So Will is out between third and home. And then Christian LaPierre, he was safe at third, and then he saw that no one was at home plate. So he tries running for home. Ryan Morrill throws to the pitcher Riley Olmsted, who tags Christian LaPierre just in time before he slides into home plate. And that will end the bottom of the first inning. So it is 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Although Mount Vernon gets out of the first inning in a crazy way, Lake Stevens does get a couple of runs on the board. They are up 2-0 early as we go into the top of the second inning. Justin Troya facing the middle of the order, and Sven Larson, Ryan Morrill, and Riley Olmsted. And we are now back into the top of the second inning. Lake Stevens taking an early 2-0 lead back in the bottom of the first. First pitch from Justin Troya to the second baseman, Sven Larson. Will go low for a ball 1. Justin Troya had a pretty good first inning. 2 balls and 8 strikes for a total of 10 pitches. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. 1-0 pitch. Line drive ball. This one getting into the hole in center field. And it'll be picked up by the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, and the Bulldogs have their first base hit of the afternoon on a leadoff single in the top of the second inning. And a timeout by Lake Stevens. The catcher Trey Long exchanging baseballs with the home plate umpire. And it'll bring up the number 5 hitter, the starting third baseman, Ryan Morrill. The first pitch, fly ball, that is go out for a foul ball. Last season, Riley Morrill was the number 2 starting pitcher in the rotation for Tony Wolden's Mount Vernon Bulldogs. Looks like that might be the case here this year. In addition, they also added another pitcher, number 34, Hudson Rhines, into the rotation as well for any extra games that Mount Vernon plays next week. Throws in a week. Throws the first not in time. And Justin Troya, the 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. As Ryan Morrill last year, he threw 5 innings, allowed 9 hits, allowed 5 unearned runs, 7 runs total, 2 earned. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. And Troya gets Morrill swinging for the first out of the second inning, as he walked 1 and struck out 3 in a loss, in a 7-2 loss here at Lake Stevens High School last year. So it'll be the first strikeout for Justin Troya. Brings up the number 6 hitter, and the starting pitcher for the Bulldogs is number 14, Riley Olmsted. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. And Riley Olmsted last year, he was 1 for 8 with 3 runs, got a stolen base, got an RBI, and was walked once in the 3 games against Lake Stevens last season. First pitch low for a ball 1. Or in the 2 games pitched, or the 2 games played for Lake Stevens last year. I forgot he was also in the batting lineup 2 years ago for the Bulldogs. Throw to first, not in time. Lake Stevens, Washington today, high of 52 degrees. It was partly cloudy on first pitch. Now there is a huge, giant gray rain cloud that is just covering at best the entire city of Lake Stevens. And the 1-1 pitch upstairs and outside, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strikes from pitcher to pitcher. And Troya, the 2-1. Outside, ball 3. And Riley Olmsted as a pitcher, he got Wesco 4A first team honors as a sophomore last year, which is incredible considering that he's only 16. And a 3-1 pitch outside, ball 4. Mount Vernon gets runners on first and second base with 1 out. Mount Vernon has the tying run at first. And it'll bring up the number 7 hitter, number 23. He's starting catcher Finn Wilson. Lake Stevens, they're wearing their home white uniforms. They have white pants with the white jerseys and with purple Vikings on the chest with a yellow trim. Purple numbers on the back with a yellow trim, and on the bottom right of the numbers, again, color purple with yellow trim. While Mount Vernon, they're wearing gray pants with green jerseys that are with the white numbers and letters or the black number and letters with white trim. First pitch, strike one looking to the catcher Finn Wilson. It's also the first time that Mount Vernon has their own custom helmets. They have the helmets with a white, the front part is white and the back part is black with a white M on the back of the helmet. Justin Troya stepping off the mound, almost throws to second to try and get Sven Larson. And so there are 4 reserves for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. It is Kyle Wolden, the son of the head coach Tony Wolden. Hudson Rhines, the optional starting pitcher. And the 0-1 pitch, strike 2 looking, is inside as Finn Wilson steps back a step on that pitch. And it's number 21, Dane Williams, and number 12, Cole Williams. We have no word on if both those players are actually related, but it's a safe bet to say that they're not. The 0-2, this one will fall right in front of the left fielder. Sven looked like he's running around third. Throw to second. Did he get him? No, he didn't. Connor Bardew, he got the ball. He was away from third. Throws to second to try and get Riley Olmstead, but could not get him. And Finn Wilson was reaching for that one. So it'll be a leaning single going into left field. And Mount Vernon has the bases loaded with 1 out for their first baseman, number 17, Lane Harlan. And it'll be a pinch runner for Riley Olmstead over at second base. And a pinch runner for Finn Wilson at first base. That is new. That is new. That is the first time that I've ever seen 2 players replaced by pinch runners. It will be number 2, Kyle Wolden, who will be pinch running for Riley Olmstead at second, and number 12, Cole Williams, will be pinch running for Finn Wilson at first. First pitch, a strike 1 looking to the first baseman, Lane Harlan. There's a first for everything, and that was one of them. The 0-1 pitch, low and outside, ball 1. So Mount Vernon, they're currently on a 4-game win streak right now. Or no, they're not. Wait a minute. They're on a 3-game win streak right now. 1-1, low ball 2. Ball gets away from the catcher, Trey Long. Runners do not advance. Mount Vernon started their conference play by splitting a series with Kamiak. They got upset in the first game, 4-1, at Kamiak High School, but from the arm of Morgan White, he beat Riley Olmstead in a pitcher's duel and then beat Kamiak 4-3 at home. The 2-1 inside, and Mount Vernon gets their first run on the board as Lane Harlan gets hit. And he goes up to first, an RBI for Lane Harlan. And Lake Stevens now leads it 2-1. Kyle Wolden going to third, and Cole Williams going to second base. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White going on to the mound to talk to Justin Troya with the number 9 hitter and the designated hitter, Skylar Jensen, at the plate. Game-tying run is at third base. In Riley Olmstead. Or no, in Kyle Wolden. I have a couple of insurance runs in the base paths as well. Again, it is Cole Williams at second base, and now we have Lane Harlan, who was at first, and he got an RBI after getting hit on a 2-1 pitch. And it'll bring up the junior right-hander, number 15, Skylar Jensen, the designated hitter. And the first pitch by Justin, upstairs, ball 1. And after the Kamiak series, Mount Vernon, they split a series with Jackson. They lost. They got shut out at home 5-0. And won on a walk-off. This one, a small fly ball. That is an infield fly ball. It's an infield fly ball as Braden Miller will catch that one in short right center field for the second out. As considering the situation that Lake Stevens is in, that is a huge out for the Vikings as Mount Vernon will go back to the top of the lineup for the first time this afternoon, going back up to Travis Ord, who grounded out to Miller for the first out in the top of the first. First pitch by Troya, strike one looking. And so Jackson, they lost to Jackson on the road. My mistake, not at home. They lost to Jackson 5-0 on the road. And then they walked off against Jackson 5-4, giving them their first conference loss. And the 0-1, low for a ball to Travis Ord.
Pick each other up there, we go.
Giving the stop signal to Walden over at third base. And the 1-1 by Troya, strike two looking, a nice pitch by Justin. And then Mount Vernon shook the standings by sweeping top-ranked Monroe by the scores of 4-2 and 6-4. And the 1-2 pitch. One hopper, gets past Trey. Walden will slide safely, and Mount Vernon has tied this game up at 2. Trey not able to pick up the ball as it lands right next to the on-deck circle. For Mount Vernon, right next to Ian Fitzgerald, who was on the on-deck circle. And now the game-leading run is at third base on Cole Williams. The 2-2 pitch. Fly ball, that goes out foul in the right field. And Justin getting the sign from Trey Long, the 2-2. Line drive ball, this one landing in the center field. One run's going to score. Here comes the next runner, Lane Harlan. And does he get him out? Yes, he does. It's a nice throw by the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, to get the third out. And Tony Walden's going to talk to the whole plate umpire. And a nice play by the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, who threw it from short center field to get Lane Harlan. And just like in the bottom of the first inning, here in the top of the second, it will end on a play in the base paths. There will be 3 runs will score on 1, 2, 3 hits. No errors and 1 runner left on. Mount Vernon takes a 3-2 lead over Lake Stevens as we go into the bottom of the second inning. Riley Olmstead back on the mound. He'll face off against the 6, 7, and 8 hitters of Tanner Lind, Hunter Zalesko, and Tate Brust as the Vikings try to retake the lead. And we are now back into the bottom of the second inning. Mount Vernon, after trailing 2-0 to Lake Stevens, they take the lead for the first time in this game by leading 3-2. But Lake Stevens, they're going to come back to the plate in the next 6 innings. And if Mount Vernon thinks that Lake Stevens is going to stay silent, they're going to be mistaken. First pitch from Riley Olmstead to the right fielder Tanner Lind is a swing and a miss, strike 1. Riley Olmstead, he threw 5 balls and 9 strikes for 14 pitches in the bottom of the first. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Allowing 2 runs and 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left on. And that is the total for this game. Tanner Lind, a .200 batting average with 3 RBIs and is 2 for 2 on stolen bases. The 0-2 upstairs for ball 1. Riley, he'll be facing off against Tanner Lind, the shortstop Hunter Zalesko, and the designated hitter Tate Brust. And the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Finn Wilson throwing to first. to get the out. Throws it to the first baseman, Lane Harlan. And Riley Olmstead has his first strikeout of the afternoon here in the bottom of the second inning. Brings out the number 7 hitter, shortstop Hunter Zalesko. He's coming into this game with a .250 batting average, 7 hits and 28 at-bats. Has been hit twice, has scored 6 runs, has been walked 3 times, and has hit 3 doubles. And the first pitch from Riley. Tries bunting for that one, goes inside for a ball 1. The third baseman, Ryan Morrill, getting a little bit of a head start there as he knew that Hunter was going to try and bunt for it. And the 1-0 pitch outside for a ball 2. And Riley already getting the sign from Finn. The 2-0, strike 1 looking right down the middle. And between Lake Stevens and Mount Vernon, these two teams have been going against each other since 2013. In 2012, Mount Vernon finished with an undefeated season. 2-1 pitch, ground ball. This one getting into the glove of Ryan Morrill, who later drops it. Throws the first, and it is not in time, as the Vikings get a base runner on an error by the third baseman, Ryan Morrill. He backhanded that ground ball. He lost it in transition after he's trying to throw the baseball. He is able to pick it up. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. And the throw to first, a one-hopper to Lane Harlan. It was not in time. The Vikings had the game-tying run at first. Here is Tate Brust. Low for a ball 1. In 2012, Mount Vernon, they finished with an undefeated season. They played in the Wesco 3A Championship, or in the Wesco 2A/3A Championship, because Mount Vernon was a 2A team. And in the tournament, it was a mashup between 2A and 3A teams, and they lost to the Mountain Lake Terrace Hawks in that championship game at Everett Memorial Stadium. Throw to first, not in time. And in 2013, because of how good Mount Vernon was and because that their attendance was going up, they went up from 2A to 4A, where they started playing against each other. In 2013 and 2014, they played 4 games each, with Lake Stevens winning 3 of 4 in 2013. And the 1-0 pitch, low for a ball 2 to Tate. And in 2014, same result, Lake Stevens winning 3 of 2. The one game that Mount Vernon won in 2013, it was a game that was supposed to be played at Sherman Anderson Field, but due to the rain, it was moved to Dream Field at Skagit Valley College, where Mount Vernon won the game by the score of 5-4. And in the game in 2014, it was also on the road. They beat them 8-4. And the 2-0 pitch, this one hitting the outside part of the strike zone. 2 balls and 1 strike to Tate Brust. In 2015, when the division, when it was switched from 4A North and 4A South, when they combined, they played 2 times. But for the past few years, these teams have been this matchup has been a common occurrence in the postseason, especially in 2015. Mount Vernon won all 3 games that they played back in 2015, winning 11-10, walking off 6-5, and winning 4-0. The 2-1 foul ball hitting above the backstop and somehow getting over the fence towards the Lake Stevens dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In 2016, in 2015, Mount Vernon swept Lake Stevens, but Lake Stevens got revenge in the West Coast semifinals by beating the Bulldogs 1-0 on the road. And the 2-2 pitch, a strike 3 called on the inside part of the strike zone. It is strikeout number 2 for Riley. And it'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Braden Miller, coming in with a 167 batting average, 2 hits and 12 at-bats. Has been hit once, has hit 1 double. Or no, he hit a double and a triple and has scored 1 run. Braden Miller, both of his hits have been extra base hits this year. First pitch by Riley. Fly ball, that is playable. That one going in the right field. Dylan Carter running for it, making the catch as he is running towards foul territory. And it will end the second inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on. It is still a 3-2 Mount Vernon lead over Lake Stevens. Justin Troya coming back onto the mound. He'll be facing off against Ian Fitzgerald, Dylan Sir, and Sven Larson. And the 2-3-4 hitters in the top of the third inning. 3-2 Mount Vernon. And we are now back into the top of the third inning. Mount Vernon leading Lake Stevens by the score of 3-2, and they are aiming to get some more runs on the board with Ian Fitzgerald coming back to the plate. Lined out to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, back in the first inning. First pitch goes Fitzgerald trying to bunt for it and try to get a head start there. It'll be a one-hopper to Trey Long with the home plate umpire. We'll say that he go. It'll be an 0-1 count. And the 0-1 pitch, a strike two looking on Fitzgerald. Justin Troya had a pretty rough second inning, 10 balls and 14 strikes for 24 pitches for a total of 12 balls, 22 strikes and 34 pitches, 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 1 runner left on. And the 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Justin Troya with his second strikeout of the afternoon and a huge one against a veteran outfielder in Ian Fitzgerald. Now he'll have to face off against another veteran outfielder in left fielder Dylan Sir, who popped out to the first baseman Will Wentz on a fly ball. This one going into short right field, and the second baseman Braden Miller tries to dive for it to no avail with the right fielder Tanner Lind right next to him, and it'll be a 1-out bloop single for Mount Vernon in the top of the third. They'll bring up the cleanup hitter Sven Larson, who hit a leadoff single back in the second and scored the first run for Mount Vernon.
Your way.
And the first pitch from Justin, low inside, ball 1. So Mount Vernon in 2016 swept Lake Stevens, beating them 3-2 and 4-1. The Mount Vernon beating Lake Stevens 4-1. That was the first appearance for Riley Olmsted as a freshman. And it was in the Wesco first round. It was in the first round of the Wesco playoffs where Mount Vernon shut out Lake Stevens 4-0, ending their year early. This one going over the glove of Miller. And there will be runners on first and second with 1 out, and Sven Larson is 2 for 2 already. They'll bring up the number 5 hitter Ryan Morrill. Ryan Morrill, he struck out on 3 pitches. All those pitches he ended up swinging at, and that was with Larson at first.
A lot of confidence. Pick each other up. Talk to each other. Let's go.
And Justin looking over at second, first pitch, upstairs, ball 1. But it was in 2017 when Lake Stevens got their revenge after losing at Mount Vernon 9-3 from the arm of Connor Olmsted. The Vikings won 7-2 at Lake Stevens High School, and then in arguably one of the best playoff games in the past few years in the Wesco playoffs, the Vikings beat Mount Vernon 5-4. The 1-0 pitch low for a ball 2. The Vikings had a 5-2 lead going into the bottom of the 7th. And Quinlan Hayes, who was the pitcher for the Vikings, he hit 3 straight batters. It was bases loaded. Mount Vernon got a couple runs on the board and was trailing 5-4 with 2 outs. The 2-0 pitch, fly ball. That one going in the right field. Tanner Lind, right near the foul line, is under it. Will make the catch. And Dylan Sir will immediately race to third base. And Mount Vernon has runners on the corners with 2 outs for Riley Olmsted. The starting pitcher, he got on base back in the second inning on 5 pitches. And he was taken over at second base by Kyle Walden, who, my mistake, he wasn't jersey number 2. He's actually jersey number 3. Jersey number 2 was for another Mount Vernon player who is not able to be here today, Sam Nelson. And Walden scored. First pitch, strike 1 looking. It's 5-2. 2 outs. And Lake Stevens was able to get out of it. Will Wentz was actually the pitcher in that scenario, in that game. And the throw to first not in time to get Larson. As third baseman Cooper Tobiasen was at the plate. He is a player who has graduated now from Mount Vernon. He hit into a fielder's choice that got Dylan Sir out at home plate. He was at third. Fitzgerald was at second, and I think that is important. The 0-1 pitch, this one barely touching the strike zone, ball one. And Justin, the 1-1. Low and inside, ball two. Trey throwing to second. Larson's in a rundown. Miller, he's going to be throwing to first to get Will, and he gets him, but another run will score. And Mount Vernon now has a 4-2 lead. On a play that we've seen earlier this year, Cascade pulled that off of Lake Stevens earlier. And Sven Larson, he was able to get enough time for Dylan Sir to score. Mount Vernon gets another run on the board, and they now lead by the score of 4-2. One run on 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on. It was a pretty wild third inning as well. A pretty wild game so far as we go into the bottom half of the third inning. Riley Olmsted facing the top 3 batters, Ben Pizer, Trey Long, and Connor Bardew for the second time around here in this game. And we are now back. Mount Vernon gets another run on the board. They now lead 4-2. Going into the bottom half of the third inning, Riley Olmsted coming back onto the mound. Again, he is facing the top half of the lineup, as he will once again face off against the left fielder, Ben Pizer. First pitch, the windup, and it'll be a strike one looking. Riley touching the outside part of the strike zone towards the senior southpaw. Ben Pizer on a full count. He was walked and was one of 2 runs that scored. In the 0-1 pitch, a foul ball. That'll hit the top part of the fence above the backstop. No balls and 2 strikes. Riley Olmsted didn't have a pretty bad second inning. 5 balls on 9 strikes for 14 pitches for the second consecutive inning, for a total of 10 balls and 18 strikes for 28 total pitches. The 0-2 fly ball, that one goes above the Mount Vernon dugout for a foul ball. And in the second inning, total no runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 guy left on, for a total of 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on. And Riley getting the sign from Finn, the 0-2. Outside, ball 1. This is the same situation as that Riley faced against Ben. He was throwing to the outside part of the strike zone and above the strike zone as well. He did that in the last few pitches of the last at-bat. 0-2. This one a leading pitch. This one getting in the right field. And Ben Pizer starts off the third inning with a leadoff single. And we'll bring up the number 2 hitter, Trey Long, who hit a fly ball to the right fielder, Dylan Carter, on the first pitch he saw for the first out of the first inning.
Get on, 1 hit hard.
And Riley looking over at first base. The first pitch. Strike 1 looking. Finn already in position for the curveball for the 0-1 count. Throw to first, not in time to get Ben, and a quick swipe by Lane Harlan to no avail. And Riley Olmsted, in the 3 games he has faced off against the Vikings, he was 2-1. He is through 17 1/3 innings, allowing 17 hits, 7 earned runs. He walked 9 batters. Times that by 2, that's how many guys he struck out. He struck out 18 batters. The 0-1 fly ball, that is out for a foul. Foul ball over the fence, not right behind the Lake Stevens dugout, but is around there for an 0-2 count. Olmsted stepping off of the mound. There were a couple of games that were supposed to be played on Friday, but that they were rained out. Ben Pizer, he misstepped, but the good news is that he got back to first just in time. He was only a step away from first. There were a couple of games that were played on Monday that were later moved to a later date. Games that were played on Friday. Cascade at Jackson and Glacier Peak at Mariner, those games were supposed to be played on Friday but were moved. The 0-2 pitch, this one hitting the outside part of the strike zone, ball 1. The Glacier Peak Mariner game and Cascade and Jackson, both those games were supposed to be played on yesterday, Monday, April 16th. The Cascade and Jackson game, if I remember correctly, was moved to Thursday, the 23rd? No. And the 1-2 pitch, this one getting into the glove of Travis Ord, who makes an errant throw to the second baseman, Sven Larson. Travis Ord, a nice snag. It gets him on his... gets him on his behind there in the shortstop position. Good force of habit. I wanted to say the other thing. And there'll be a base hit for Trey Long. Runners on first and second with nobody out for Connor Bardou. Who got a single and was the second run that scored. So the Glacier Peak at Mariner game is going to be this Saturday. Throw to second, and it's an errant throw to the center fielder. Trey goes to second, and it's not in time. It's another errant throw. This one by the center fielder. And Ben Pizer will get the third. It'll be a wild pitch by the pitcher, Riley Olmsted. The word errant is our word of the day, apparently, because I just said that like 5 times in the last minute. Timeout by Mount Vernon. Tony Wolden with the entire infield, plus Finn Wilson, the catcher, going over to the mound. He's looking like a football coach out there, talking to his players in the huddle. Because he's moving his hands a lot, he is talking a lot, he has motivation, is what he has. I think that's cool. And so the Glacier Peak Mariner game, if I remember correctly, will be played this Saturday, if I had to guess. And then the Cascade Jackson game will be played on Thursday. Yes. The Glacier Peak and Mariner will be on Monday, April 23rd, while the Cascade and Jackson game will be on this Thursday, April 19th. And the other game was the Mount Vernon game. Mount Vernon beating Monroe 6-4. That was the other game. So we're going back to our usual schedule for now. And the first pitch from Riley to Connor outside. Strike one looking. And the games today, Cascade playing at Monroe. That is going to be a huge series right there. Monroe, even though they got swept by Mount Vernon, they're still at the top of the standings. And Cascade, they're crawling up there right now. The 0-1 inside. Strike two looking. That is 2 straight questionable strike calls by the home plate umpire. One that was outside of the strike zone and one that was inside. And from here looked like it almost hit Connor Bardou. And Riley, the 0-2, outside, ball 1. It'll be Cascade, Monroe, Jackson traveling up to Mariner High School to play the Mariner Marauders, and Glacier Peak traveling to Mukilteo to play Kamiak. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We also have no updates on whether any of these games have been postponed. The 1-2, this is a short fly ball. This one getting into the glove of the shortstop Travis Ord, who throws the third to try and get Ben Pizer to no avail. Now going for the first out. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter Will Wentz, who hit an RBI single and then was later got out at third base. And it is not announced if any games. So far, no games have been rained out. So far, no games have been rescheduled. So it looks like the games might play as planned. We'll bring up the cleanup hitter Will Wentz. Hit a single into the hole in left center. Swing and a miss, strike one. And Will Wentz got the first run on the board. He had a line drive past Travis Ord, who looked like he wasn't even trying to get it. And the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. Both pitches, they were fastballs that were above the strike zone. Will chasing those pitches. And Riley ahead of the count. Here against Will. And the 0-2 pitch. Outside, ball 1. It is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Riley. Trey at second. And Bennett first. First pitch, a line drive ball. Gets off the glove of Morrill. Ord picks it up. Races to get Trey Long at third and can't get Trey at third base. It'll be an RBI single for Will Wentz. It gets off the glove of Ryan Morrill. Travis Ord immediately picks it up. And it looked like he was racing to third base with Trey Long to try and tag him, but the speed of Trey Long will not be overlooked. He gets to third safely, and the game is now tied at 3. Or no, game's not tied at 3. No, Lake Stevens trailing 4-3. Runners on the corners with 1 out. It is Christian LaPierre who hit what looked like, I'm going to say it was an RBI double, but he went to third and was safe there. And that could have been it, but he was later out, and he was the third out as he tried to steal home. First pitch of ball 1. And so there will be no outs. Travis Ord, a nice effort. Trey Long, a nice effort. But the winner will go to the TRE, the 1-0. That one low, inside, but is called a strike. Another questionable call by the home plate umpire. But the count will go. The count will stay 1 ball and 1 strike. Runners on the corners with 1 out. Riley. This will go inside, and Christian will be hit once again. Bases loaded with 1 out. There's runners on the corners as Christian. I did not write this down on my. Why did I not write this down on my scorebook? But Christian, he was one of the team leaders in getting hits this year, yet that was his team-leading 5th time that he got hit this year. And it'll bring up Tanner Lynn, who struck out swinging on 4 pitches. First pitch, fly ball. Goes over the fence behind home plate for a foul ball. And the thing that I've seen with Mount Vernon over the past couple of years is that there are some games where their pitching is what helps them win. There are games where their hitting is what helps them win. There are games where both of that happen, and if both of those happen, it's not a good thing for the opponent, I'll tell you that. The 0-1 pitch low for a ball 1. And so far it's looking like Mount Vernon's hitting will be the key to them winning this game. And Riley, the 1-1. Inside, strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Another 1-2 count from Riley to Tanner. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that is the 2nd out. That'll be strikeout number 3 on the afternoon for Riley Olmstead, and it'll bring up Hunter Zalesko, the shortstop. Got on base on a 2-1 pitch on a fast ground ball to the third baseman Ryan Morrill, who drops it after moving it to his throwing hand to try and throw to first. First pitch, inside, ball 1. A timeout by Hunter. There'll be bases loaded. Trey Long at third base. Will Wentz at second base, Christian LaPierre at first base, and Hunter Zalesko, the sophomore shortstop, is at the plate, the 1-0. Strike one looking. Fastball right down the middle. And Riley, the 1-1. Upstairs, ball 2. Riley, the 2-1. Fly ball. This one looks like it's staying in fair territory, but it'll go out for a foul ball. This one falling behind the Lake Stevens dugout. The first baseman, Lane Harlan, and the right fielder, Dylan Carter, they were both, along with the second baseman, Sven Larson, they were all running for that one. But it would be too little too late as that ball will fall just behind the Lake Stevens dugout. Riley ahead of the count on Hunter. And the 2-2 pitch. Fly ball, another foul. One thing that Lake Stevens needs to take note over Riley Olmsted is that the fact that he can pitch late in games. Before the WIA put the rule in which a pitcher can only throw 110 pitches, 115 pitches in a game, there was a playoff game, where he would throw 120. 2-2, ground ball. This one getting into Ord, who tosses it to second, and we'll get Christian LaPierre at second base in time, and it will end the threat. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on. Lake Stevens, they would get a run on the board, but it will not be enough, as they now trail by the score of 4-3 as we end the 3rd inning. Justin Troya coming back onto the mound in the top of the 4th inning, facing off against Riley Olmsted, Finn Wilson, and Lane Harlan. 4-3, Mount Vernon. And we are now back into the top of the 4th inning. Mount Vernon now leading Lake Stevens by the score of 4-3 after the Vikings get a run in the bottom half of the 3rd. Justin Troya facing off against Riley Olmsted for the 2nd time around. He was in the middle of his at-bat, in which Sven Larson got out on the base pass between 1st and 2nd, allowing Dylan Sir to score from 3rd. 1-0 pitch, ball 2 going outside. But apart from that, it was a pretty decent 3rd inning. 4 balls and 8 strikes for 12 pitches, with a total of 16 balls, 30 strikes, and 46 pitches. The 2-0 pitch upstairs, ball 3. And in that inning, 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on, with a total of 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors, 1 runner left on. The 3-0 pitch. Strike 1 looking right down the middle, as the rain stopped for a few minutes and is now coming back. As again, it is the city of Lake Stevens and the surrounding area, Everett, Granite Falls, Marysville, under a giant gray rain cloud. The 3-1 pitch, a strike 2 looking, hits the inside part of the strike zone. Riley Olmsted moving his body away from home plate, the signal that was inside, but it will be a full count, 3-2. And the payoff pitch, the windup from Justin, fly ball. This one going up for a foul ball. Ben Pizer running for it right near the fence, as it'll be a full count. Justin Troya, 2-1 with an ERA of 2.71, 18 1/3 for 15 hits, allowing 7 earned runs, walking 15, and striking out 11 batters in his 6th start. The payoff pitch, and this will go upstairs for a ball 4. And the home plate umpire has been a little spotty with her counts in this game. It'll be Kyle Wolden once again coming back into the base paths for Riley Olmsted. It'll bring up the catcher Finn Wilson, who hit an 0-2 pitch for a single.
Take you out here, set the feet, make a throw. Right.
And Justin looking at first. Throw to first is not in time to try and get Kyle Walden, as Finn Wilson was also getting ready to bunt for that one, even though the ball wasn't going to him. And we have both corner infielders in. Wilson trying to bunt for it. Oh, a foul ball for a 0-1 count. That just came out. Just corner infielders. In other words, it's Will Wentz and Connor Bardew, the first and third baseman. They were both running towards home plate to pick up that ball. And Braden Miller was ready to go to first. And Hunter Zalesko was ready to go to second. Or at least that's what I assume they have planned. Yep, runners go, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It'll be Walden who will get into a rundown. Miller throwing to Zalesko, and we'll get him for the first out. An amazing play by the Lake Stevens defense. Walden goes, and later regrets it. Troya throwing the first, who throws it to second. Towards Zalesko, it'll be a 4-6. For the first out, Braden Miller fielded that one at first and threw it to Hunter Zalesko, who was at second. It was exactly what I said was going to happen. That was and ball one, low and inside. It was exactly what I said was going to happen. Braden Miller was going to go to first. Hunter Zalesko going to second. That's exactly what happened, by the way. Justin was throwing to Braden at first and threw it to Hunter at second. I didn't even know that was their game plan. I was just throwing that up in the air. The 1-1 pitch, upstairs ball 2. That's awesome. That's amazing. And the 2-1 by Justin, outside ball 3. The next five games for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs, after playing against Lake Stevens, they're going to have to play a 2-game series against the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. First on the road on April 20th on a Friday, and then at home on April 24th at home on Tuesday, April 24th. And then they'll be playing against Cascade. Glacier Peak, an upstart team that's trying to recover from losing a bunch of players. And Cascade, a team that lost a lot of players that looked like was doing pretty good. The 3-1 pitch upstairs, ball 4. And it'll be a 1-out walk as Finn Wilson will go to first. Timeout by Lake Stevens, and another pinch runner for Mount Vernon. And this one will be number 12, Cole Williams, once again. And apart from Riley Olmstead getting a postseason honor for pitching, Dylan Sir got a postseason 4A first-team honor as an outfielder. Ryan Morrill getting a second-team All-Wesco honor pitching, and Ian Fitzgerald getting a second-team All-Wesco second-team honor as an outfielder. There were a couple of seniors that also got some honors too. Nick Sokol, first-team infielder, and Carson Goodman, who is a second-team catcher. Finn Wilson is replacing Carson Goodman, and Travis Ord, who was the starting second baseman last year, and now is the new starting shortstop for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. First time in a while that they got a new shortstop after seeing Nick Sokol play for so long. First pitch, strike one, looking to Lane Harlan. He got hit on a 2-1 pitch with the bases loaded. With a run on the board, timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White going back on the mound. And put some rubber on the mound so Justin can get his shoes clean so he can step on the rubber. It'll hopefully also help Riley Olmstead as well when he's up there on the mound, or any pitcher that plays today. The 0-1, outside, ball 1.
Grab ball, baby. Grab ball.
And apart from Nick Sokol and Carson Goodman, they were 2 of 5 Mount Vernon players that graduated, has now left the team. Alex Couch was another one. He was their top relief pitcher last year. 1-1. Foul ball. This one going over the fence, 1-2. Cooper Tobiasen, we mentioned his name earlier. He was mainly used as a third baseman for Mount Vernon last year. And Zach Douglas another pitcher slash infielder. He was mainly used as the first baseman. As Ryan Morrill, when he wasn't pitching, he was the third baseman. And Zach Douglas, he was used as a relief pitcher as well pretty frequently last year. The 1-2 pitch, this one barely hitting the tip of the strike zone. Again, ball 2. As Mount Vernon, even though their result wasn't good, they had a pretty successful season overall. The 2-2, a foul ball. And a nice pitch by Justin Troya to make Lane Harlan lean in to get that pitch. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mount Vernon, they finished overall last year, 15 wins, 7 losses, and they were 10-4 in the Wesco 4A. They had the regular season title. The 2-2 pitch, runner goes. Trey goes to second. Hunter Zalesko slips, and it will be a stolen base for Cole Williams. And it will be a ball 3. There'll be a full count for Lane Harlan. Trey Long, he was throwing to second base, and he throws it to the right of Hunter Zalesko, who tries reaching for it but slips on the infield AstroTurf and will fall into the Dandelion Field infield, or the Dandelion Field outfield, where Ben Pizer, where Christian Lapierre, the center fielder, will pick it up. It is now a full count for Justin Troya against the first baseman, the junior Lane Harlan. Looking over at second base. Throw to second. Did he get him? No, he didn't. Is going to be Justin's third batter, and he has thrown 18 pitches already in this inning. The most he has thrown in an inning was 24, and that was back in the second inning. And Justin, the payoff pitch. Low, ball 4. Runners on first and second with 1 out. And a timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White coming onto the mound. It looks like they're going to bring in a new pitcher. And they will bring in a new pitcher. And they're going to bring in number 18, Jacob Gordon. Here in the top of the 4th inning. Runners on first and second with 1 out. A new pitcher for the Lake Stevens Vikings is number 18, Jacob Gordon. We'll take a quick break here from Lake Stevens High School. You're listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. And we are now back into the top of the 4th inning. Mount Vernon leading Lake Stevens by the score of 4-3. They have runners on first and second with 1 out for Jacob Gordon against Skylar Jensen. First pitch is a strike 1 looking from Jacob Gordon. Justin Troya finishing up his night, 3 1/3 innings, allowing 5 hits, currently 4 earned runs. Maybe more. He is responsible for Cole Williams at second and Lane Harlan at first. He has walked 4 batters and struck out 2 in 65 pitches. And the 0-1 pitch. As strike 2 looking, a check swing by Jensen. He flew out to the second baseman, Braden Miller, in the second inning. With the bases loaded before Travis Oord hit an RBI single. Jacob Gordon coming into this game. This is his 6th game. No wins, no losses. ERA of 0.99. And Hunter Zalesko trying to get that one. Hunter Zalesko will be fielding that one. It will be a fielder's choice. It was a slow line drive ball that Connor Bardou tried to dive for. He dove for his left for it. He was not able to get it. It was easily fielded by Hunter Zalesko, who is trotting over to third base to get Cole Williams out at third, so it's a fielder's choice. Lane Harlan is at second with 2 outs, and he'll bring up back to the top of the order for the 3rd time this afternoon, Travis Oord, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI single. First pitch by Jacob. First pitch, strike 1 looking. Jacob Gordon, he's in his 6th game as an ERA of 0.99, no wins, no losses, as he has allowed 1 earned run in 7 1/3. allowing 6 hits and striking out 6 batters. And the 0-1 pitch low for a ball 1. Yeah, he allowed 6 hits and he struck out 6 batters, the most for any relief pitcher. And second on the team to Justin Troya. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Travis Ord with a backbreaker of a swing as the barrel of the bat hit his back. That is how hard he swung that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Snake ahead of the count. Is Jacob the Snake Gordon. It's just a little warning when I call this guy the Snake for the rest of the year. Looks over at second base. And a timeout by Travis. Jacob ahead on the count. Runners on first and second base against the leadoff hitter. So Mount Vernon, after finishing with a 10-4 record in the regular season, they lost to Lake Stevens 5-4 in that semifinal game. They ended up playing in a consolation game where they lost to Jackson 9-5. This one will land, and it'll be bases loaded. There's Travis Ord. He was reaching for that one. It'll be a second hit of the afternoon, and it'll be bases loaded, as this one will land in short center field, fielded by Christian LaPierre. Lane Harlan will go to third and will stay there. Skylar Jensen is at second, and Travis Ord is at first base. Ian Fitzgerald will come back up to the plate. First time against Jacob Gordon. He is 0 for 2 as he lined out to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko, and he struck out swinging back in the third inning, and the last time up against Justin Troya. And the first pitch by Gordon, low outside, ball 1. And Gordon, the 1-0. And it'll be a slow chopper, fielded by the Snake, who throws the first, and it's the end of the inning. And Lake Stevens will hold Mount Vernon scoreless for the first time since the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. 3 runners left on a huge inning for Lake Stevens. They trail by the score of 4-3 as it goes into the bottom of the 4th inning. As Riley Olmstead will come back onto the mound. Will face off against Tate Bruss, Braden Miller, and Ben Pizer. And we are now back. We are at the bottom of the 4th inning. Mount Vernon leading Lake Stevens by the score of 4-3. Riley Olmstead on the mound. Once again, it'll be faced off against the number 8 hitter Tate Bruss for the second time this afternoon. First pitch from Riley. Swing and a miss, strike 1. We also got an update from one of the other baseball games going on in the West Coast Conference. That is Cascade and Monroe. Cascade has just tied the game on a 2-out balk in the top of the 5th. As Cascade gets their first run on the board, as they're currently tied 1-1 over up in Monroe. The 0-1 pitch, it'll be a strike 2 looking. And the 0-2 pitch by Riley, upstairs, ball 1. Riley had a pretty rough third inning. He threw 8 balls for 22 strikes and 30 pitches, with a total of 18 balls, 40 strikes, and 58 pitches through 3 innings. And the 1-2 pitch, outside, strike 3 called. And Riley strikes out Tate for the second time this afternoon, and it is the 4th strikeout of the afternoon for Olmstead. And it will bring up the number 9 hitter, second baseman Braden Miller, who flew out to the right fielder Dylan Carter in short right field. First pitch, a 1-hopper to the catcher Finn Wilson. So that's an update from the Cascade Monroe game. Currently, Cameron Van Til of the Everett Herald is getting updates. He's currently updating the game on Twitter. The 1-0 pitch way inside, right around shoulder height for Braden Miller. It was a good, about 5'10", 2-0. Under the strike zone, ball 3. As And Riley, the 3-0, right down the middle, strike one looking. As again, Riley Olmsted, I've only seen him being taken out of a game one time because of a situation. And the 3-1 pitch, it'll go upstairs for a ball 4, and it'll also get in and out of the glove of the catcher, number 23, Finn Wilson. The Vikings have the game-tying run at first base. As we go back into the top of the order, 43rd time around for Ben Pizer. And also pinch running for Braden Miller will be number 15, Bryce Mefford. Coming off of the bench. Going back to the top of the order, Ben Pizer. In both at-bats, he has scored in both times up. He has had 14 runs this year. Also had his 17th hit of the season in the last inning. In his last at-bat back in the last inning. And the first pitch by Riley. Fly ball, that is out for a foul. Finn Wilson looking up at it.
Here you go. Let's go 1-1 tip. I'm in.
And really, in other words, from what I know, throw to first, not in time to get Bryce. And really, in other words, every time that Riley Olmsted is either every time he's pitched against Lake Stevens or every time I would find a pitch count, he would always throw over 100 pitches, regardless of what day it is or who he's pitching against. The most I've ever seen a pitcher throw is 120, and he was a freshman when that happened. And the 0-1 pitch, this one hitting the outside part of the strike zone, an 0-2 count. Second straight at bat that Ben was facing an 0-2 count. That one ended in a single. Riley had a little trouble trying to pitch against Ben in the past couple at bats. The 0-2 pitch goes low this time for a ball 1. The other balls that have been thrown, they have been outside and above the strike zone. Riley's been having some trouble, not across the board, but especially in the first few batters. And the one that he is most irritated with right now is Ben Pizer. He is just a pain in the butt for him. Bryce throw to first, and he's at a rundown. Lane will try to get into second. Bryce getting back to first. Travis. He gets away from Travis, who has the ball, and he goes to Sven Larson at second. He gets to first base and gets Bryce in time. A nice effort by Mefford to try and get safe. Looked like he broke the ankles there of Travis Ord, who tried to throw the baseball, and then saw that he turned and he was trying to tag him with it. A 1-3-6. 4-1. Still, a great effort by Bryce Mefford there. He broke Travis Ord's ankles on the base paths. And the 1-2 pitch inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Riley, the 2-2. Chopper, this one getting into the glove of Travis Ord, who throws to first and gets him in time for the third out. It is a 1-2-3 inning to end the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. It is still a 4-3 Mount Vernon lead over Lake Stevens as Jacob Gordon comes back on the mound in the top of the 5th. And he'll face off against Dylan Sears, Sven Larson, and Ryan Morrow, the 3-4-5 hitters. As we go into the top of the 5th, 4-3 Mount Vernon. And we are now back into the top of the 5th inning. Mount Vernon leading by 1 over Lake Stevens. Jacob Gordon, he threw 9 pitches in the 4th inning, 2 balls and 7 strikes back. And he is back on the mound, and he'll face off against Dylan Sir on the first pitch. Strike 1 looking. Sir 1 for 2 with a run scored. He was the only run that scored back in the 3rd inning. And the 0-1 pitch by Jacob. This one going outside and getting past the glove of Trey Long and hitting the backstop behind home plate for a ball 1. And in the inning, it is no runs, no hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on. Currently with a total of 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 4 runners left on. It is I don't know if you heard that over there, but it was the air horn currently going on at the Lake Stevens football field. The 1-1 pitch, a backbreaker swing by Dylan Sir. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It looks like an air horn going off. Currently the junior varsity game between the junior varsity soccer game between Lake Stevens and Monroe going on over at the football field. Varsity game starting at 7 p.m. The 1-2 pitch, a fly ball. This one looked like getting in the foul territory. Pizer racing for it, running for it. And it will get on the other side of the fence as Ben Pizer crashes into the left field fence. He stops about a couple steps before he makes impact. 1 ball and 2 strikes on the first batter. And the Lake Stevens soccer team, that is another team that I'm just going to have to mention. I know I'm trying to limit myself to only baseball, but I feel like at this point that shouldn't be the case. And the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, and the snake strikes again to get Sir swinging. And it'll be the first strikeout for Gordon, and it'll bring up Sven Larson, who was 2 for 2, with 2 singles and a run scored in this game. First pitch, ball 1 under the strike zone. Soccer team, after the past couple of seasons, the Lake Stevens soccer team has been in the cellar for the West Coast standings, not even getting into the playoffs. They changed coaches, and now they're in one of the top seeds, which is one of the top turnaround stories probably in all of West Coast sports, probably in sports in the West Coast Conference. The 1-0 pitch, a curveball, strike 1 looking. And the 1-1 by Jacob, swing and a miss, strike 2. Curveball's really tricking him. And Gordon ahead on the count. The 1-2 pitch, fly ball, goes up for a foul. Foul ball behind the Lake Stevens dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Gordon stepping off the mound a couple of times. Gets back on the 1-2 pitch. Fly ball, that one will just get foul as both Braden Miller and Tanner Lynn both run for it. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes for the second baseman, Sven Larson. And the 1-2 by Gordon, foul tip. There's a foul ball. It gets just a very small piece of the bat. And Larson stays alive in this at-bat. And so Glacier Peak, they're probably gonna say, they're probably facing off against Morgan White and Kamiak. Morgan White, again, he's going to play for the University of Portland next year, so good luck to him, and congrats for getting the offer, and good luck to him on continuing his baseball career. He's going to play against Glacier Peak. The 1-2, line drive ball. This one getting into the glove of Connor Bardou. It is tipped off the glove of Connor Bardou. It gets into the glove of the shortstop Hunter Zalesko, who's going the other direction. And have a day, Sven Larson, he is 3 for 3 with 3 singles. And it'll bring up the number 5 hitter, Ryan Morrill. He is 0 for 2, striking out, swinging in the second inning, and flew out to the right fielder, Tanner Lind, in the third. And Jacob Gordon, swing and a miss, strike 1. Throw to first, not inside to get Larson. And it looks like, as far as I can tell, there are no defensive changes for the Vikings, just a pitcher. And the 0-1. Fly ball, this one looks like it's going into foul territory. Connor Bardew and Hunter Zalesko running for it. Zalesko bobbles the baseball and will make the catch for the second out. There was a near collision in foul territory in left field between Connor Bardew and Hunter Zalesko. Looked like Bardew was going to get it. Looked like Zalesko was going to get it. And Zalesko, it gets in and out of his glove and he bobbles it while again almost colliding with Connor Bardew. A nice heads-up play by the sophomore shortstop, and that's the second out of the 5th inning. And it'll bring up Riley Olmstead, who was walked twice. First pitch, ball 1. He was walked with 5 pitches in the 2nd inning and later scored. Then he was walked on a full count in the 4th, and then was taken over by Kyle Walden, the pinch runner, who was caught on a rundown. And the 1-0 pitch. And a nice curveball. Strike 1 looking, a 1-1 count. And there was a little bit of activity going on in the bullpen for Mount Vernon. There was a guy in there, was not able to see his number. Throw to first, not in time. It looked like number 21, Dane Williams, a guy we have not seen him play yet. But I cannot say if that is him or not. Because Mount Vernon's jerseys, it looks really hard. Runner goes, a foul ball, and it falls right in front of home plate in fair territory, but it will hit foul first. And Larson was running for second. And Jacob ahead of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs. And the throw to first, not in time to get Larson. Will Wentz almost got into a collision trying to get the ball. And so, just like in past seasons, expect this matchup to be very pivotal in the postseason. The 1-2 pitch, upstairs, ball 2. Because this matchup, even though ever since, these conference teams have been playing against each other, since, two times a year since 2015. These teams have played against each other 3 times a year. And the 2-2 pitch, a nice pitch by Jacob Gordon. The strikeout, Riley Olmstead to end the top of the 5th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on. A nice outing by the Snake. It'll go into the bottom of the 5th inning. Riley Olmstead, he has thrown 72 pitches through 4 innings. Well, it looks like there's a chance he might go back onto the mound. He'll face off against Trey Long, Connor Bardew, and Will Wentz as the Vikings try to make this a ball game again. Mount Vernon 4, Lake Stevens 3, bottom of the 5th. And we are now back into the bottom of the 5th inning. Mount Vernon leading Lake Stevens by the score of 4-3. Riley Olmstead is back on the mound. He'll face off against the number 2 hitter, Trey Long, who is 1 for 2 with a single in the 3rd inning. And the first pitch from Riley. Strike 1 looking on the first pitch. And in the last inning, Olmstead had an okay 4th inning. 7 balls, 7 strikes, 14 pitches. With a total of 25 balls, 47 strikes, and 72 pitches. The 0-1 pitch, low for a ball 1. And in that inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Again, with a total of 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error, and 4 runners left on. And Riley, the 1-1 pitch. Line drive ball. This one gets into the hole in center field as fast as a rocket. And Trey Long gets a leadoff single in the 5th. And Trey Long taking a little too long to get back to first, and the catcher Finn Wilson there to field the ball at first and is not able to get him in time. And it'll bring up Connor Bardew, who is 1 for 2 with a run scored. We also have an update from the Cascade Monroe game. After trailing 1-0, the Cascade Bruins, and after tying the game in the 5th, The Cascade Bruins in the top of the 6th inning has scored 4 runs and are currently leading 5-1 over Monroe.
Hey, right here, buddy, right here,
So Monroe, it looked like they're going through a little patch there. Not a really good one. First pitch is strike 1, looking inside to Connor Bardew.
right here, buddy, right here, man.
Let's go, Bardew. Over to here, Bardet. Here we go, kid.
Hey, buddy, right here, man.
Game-tying run at first base and Trey. Riley, the 0-1 pitch. Upstairs, ball 1.
Here we go, on out. Hey, right here.
Lake Stevens trying to get back up to a record above 500 in conference play. The 1-1 foul ball. It's go over the fence. Riley ahead of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Riley looking over at first base towards Trey. And the 1-2 fly ball. This will go foul ball over to Lake Stevens dugout alongside the first base line. And Olmstead now at 80 pitches. The 1-2. Now at 81. He throws outside to the catcher, Finn Wilson. He looks at Trey at first.
2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. Quick math. Here we go, kid. 4 times 2 is 8. Here we go, kid. Quick math.
And Riley, the 2-2 pitch. Hard hit ball. This one going into left center field. This left fielder, Dylan Sir, will make the catch. Moves a couple of steps to his left to make that one in left center field. It was a hard hit ball. It was hit pretty well, but didn't have enough power. It's the first out of the 5th. They'll bring up Will Wentz. He is 2 for 2 with 2 singles and 2 RBIs. Riley looking over at first. First pitch, check swing, strike 1 looking. Riley Olmstead, the 0-1, inside ball 1. Will hit a single in the first inning that scored Ben from second. And he was later got out on a run down to third. And then he hit an RBI single to third to 1-1. Foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Riley ahead of the count on this one. And Riley, the 1-2, 1 hopper to the catcher, Finn Wilson, and Trey stays at first. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the mound here at Lake Stevens High School has been pretty wet because of the rain for part of the time. 2-2, foul ball, hits the fence right next to the backstop. And before and even between innings, there were a couple of times where the Lake Stevens coaches had to put what they called diamond dry on there to dry up the mound. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Looks like the rain has stopped. You see a little bit of blue sky. 2-2 pitch. Upstairs, ball 3. Full count. Riley Olmstead at 4 1/3 innings, now sitting at 87 pitches. And Riley, the payoff pitch. Upstairs, ball 4. And Riley Olmstead, he looked like he was in a situation where he was going to get Will Wentz out and get this inning over with, but he will walk him. It'll be the first. This will be the third walk for Riley Olmsted. He walked Braden Miller back in the fourth inning, and that was the first time since the first batter he faced, Ben Pizer, in the bottom of the first, that Riley Olmsted walked somebody. We'll now go into the number 5 spot with Christian LaPierre, first pitch. And this will get past Finn Wilson. Trey goes to third, Will goes to second. It's a wild pitch. And once again, Lake Stevens has the game-tying run at third base. They had it in the third inning after making the score 4-3. And Christian LaPierre has a chance to make this a whole new ball game. The 1-0. Foul ball hits above the fence, 1 ball and 1 strike. LaPierre hit a double in the first inning and then later got the third. So actually, I think you would consider that a triple, actually, because there were no errors. You could actually consider that a triple. And then he tried stealing home to try and make it an inside-the-park homer, but he couldn't do it. He got the 1-1. Inside, and LaPierre gets hit again! That is the second time this afternoon and the 6th time this year that Christian has got bean, and its bases loaded with 1 out. Timeout by Mount Vernon. Tony Walden, plus Ryan Morrow, Lane Harlan, and the catcher Finn Wilson onto the mound. As it will be a pinch hitter for Lake Stevens. For Tanner Lind, it'll be number 14, Aaron Lampinen. And Aaron Lampinen, currently with a .333 batting average. He has 4 hits and 12 at-bats. That include getting 2 runs. He has 4 RBIs and has been walked twice. So he has a chance to get a couple more RBIs on the board. A couple RBIs to his name. First pitch upstairs for a ball 1. Lampinen, who was in the lineup for the first couple games of the year during non-conference play, and then it was moved down to JV and has been used for pinch hitting ever since. And the 1-0 pitch, a strike 1 looking right down the middle. Riley Olmsted now at 93 pitches. The 1-1 pitch. Outside, ball 2.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Who's there?
Riley Olmsted, he has had his fair share of opportunities of getting out with the bases loaded. Ball 3. He is now at 94 pitches. There were a couple of times where he had the bases loaded and he allowed no runs. Third inning, he got out of it, but he also allowed a run here. Trey Long at third, Will Wentz at second, Christian at first. The 3-1, upstairs, ball 4, and that is a tie ball game on a bases loaded walk to Aaron Lampinen. Tanner Lind will pinch run for Lampinen. Trey Long will score, and that will take Riley Olmsted out of the game. It'll bring up number 17, Lane Harlan. We'll take a quick break here at bottom of the 5th inning. At the top of the 5th inning. Game is now tied at 4, bases loaded, 1 out, and a new pitcher on the hill for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. And we are now back into the bottom of the 5th inning. Lake Stevens has just tied this game up at 4. It is bases loaded with 1 out. And a new pitcher for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs is number 17, Lane Harlan. First pitch of ball 1. There is a few defensive changes for Mount Vernon. On the mound is the first baseman Lane Harlan, and Riley Olmsted will now play first base. And number 12, Cole Williams, will now play in right field. And it'll be a ball 2 for a 2-0 count. In case if you missed it, in the bottom of the 5th, Trey Long started off with a leadoff single. Connor Bardu flew out to left. Will Wentz was walked on a full count. Christian Lapierre was hit, and Aaron Lampinen walked. The 2-0. Strike one looking. So, yeah, number 12, Cole Williams, is now at right field. And there's no DH for Mount Vernon, so Skylar Jensen will come up. And the 2-1 pitch, a foul ball. Land for a 2-2 count. Currently, Riley Olmsted, 4 1/3 innings, allowing 7 hits, 4 earned runs right now, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts on 96 pitches. Lane ahead of the count on Hunter, the 2-2. It'll be a reaching base hit. This will fall right in front of the left fielder. Will's going to score. Christian's riding around third, and the throw home will get off of the glove of the catcher, Finn Wilson. Tanner's going to go to third, and Hunter's going to go to second. It's a 2-run RBI single by Hunter Zalesko, and he goes to second. RBIs number 6 and 7 for him. It'll be a single. And Tanner's gonna move the third, and Hunter's gonna move the second on the error by Finn Wilson, as he couldn't find the baseball. And it is now 6 runs towards Riley Olmsted. He is responsible for Tanner at third. Here is Tate Brust. Strike one looking.
Here we go. Let's go, Tate. Good job. Let's go. Here we go.
And the 0-1. Foul ball. This one going over the fence behind home plate. No 2 count. So a bunch of pitches being thrown outside of the strike zone lately, of where hitters had to reach to get the hit. And recently, it's ended in singles for most of the people that have done it. And the 0-2, Lane, the throw to third base, not in time. Bring back memories of an incident that happened last year. Oh yeah, and number 15, Skylar Jensen, will now play at third for Ryan Morrill. And Ryan Morrill is out of and will not be playing defense. The 0-2, upstairs, ball 1. There was something that happened back last year. It was Ryan Morrill. He was the starting pitcher for Mount Vernon. There was a runner at third base, and Morrill on the throw airmails it over the head of the third baseman, allowing the run to score. And the 1-2 pitch, it'll be a fly ball right in front of the Lake Stevens dugout. It is caught by Riley Olmsted. They'll get him for the second out. For the second out of the 5th inning, it'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Braden Miller. He is 0 for 1 with a fly out to right, and was walked in the 4th before being taken over by Bryce Mefford on the base paths in the 4th inning. First pitch by Lane. Strike one looking. And the 0-1 pitch. Hard hit ball. This one getting into the gap in left center field, and the center fielder falls while making a barehanded grab. Christian's going to score. Hunter's going to score. Or Tanner's going to score, and Hunter's going to score. It's a 2-run single for Braden Miller, and it is now 8-4 Lake Stevens.
Here we go. Umpires.
Yeah, let's go, Benny. Keep going.
So it'll be 7 earned runs towards Riley Olmstead. His stat line's now done. We now go back to the top of the order. Is Ben Pizer, a line drive ball, gets past the glove of the shortstop, Travis Ord. Braden goes to second.
Oh, yeah. Don't get too happy. Backspin something. Backspin something.
And we'll now go back to the first batter. The first batter of this inning, which is Trey Long, who hit a single in the center field. What happened during the Braden Miller 2-run single was that it landed in short center field, and while the center fielder Ian Fitzgerald tried to pick it up, he fell, but he got it but it was a barehanded grab. He got it barehanded while he fell, but 2 runs still scored anyway. Trey Long, the first pitch off the mound. Nice snag by Ord. Throw to second is in time, and it will end the inning. A nice snag in the infield by Travis Ord as that ball hit the mound. He slid right behind home plate, and it will end the 5th inning. It was a huge one for the Lake Stevens Vikings. 5 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. Lake Stevens, they were down 4-3. They explode with 5 runs in the 5th inning. They now have an 8-4 lead with Jacob Gordon online for the win in the top of the 6th, facing the bottom 3 hitters of Finn Wilson, Lane Harlan, and Skylar Jensen. And we are now back into the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens, after trailing 4-3 to the Mount Vernon Bulldogs, they explode with 5 runs in the 5th to take an 8-4 lead and are looking to keep that lead for good and to get their first conference win against Mount Vernon. Jacob Gordon back on the mound. He throws 28 pitches through an inning and 2/3, and he'll face off against the catcher Finn Wilson for the first time. First pitch, a ball 1 under the strike zone. And the 1-0 by Gordon. Strike 1 looking for a 1-1 count. And the 1-1, hard hit line drive ball. That one getting into the hole in right center field. Finn Wilson with his 2nd hit of the afternoon. It'll be a leadoff single here in the top of the 6th inning. Will they bring in a pinch runner? Will they bring in Cole Williams again? Doesn't look like they will this time, and Finn Wilson will be on the base paths this time. It'll bring up, and this will bring up the number 8 hitter, the new pitcher for Mount Vernon, Lane Harlan. And the first pitch by Gordon, upstairs and outside, ball 1. Snake had a pretty good 5th inning, 5 balls on 14 strikes for a total of 19 pitches, with a total of 7 balls, 21 strikes on 28 pitches on the inning. The 1-0 pitch, low for a ball 2. Bringing us to a total of no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on, with a total of 4 runs on 6 hits, no errors, and 5 runners left on. Also, my mistake if I said that the Vikings had 3 hits in the bottom of the 5th. They actually had 4. The 2-0. Inside, ball 3.
Reset, 1-8, reset.
And Jacob looking over at Finn at first, a 3-0. Fastball right down the middle, strike 1. So for tomorrow's game, Wednesday, April 18th at Sherman Anderson Field, tomorrow's game between Lake Stevens and Mount Vernon, the pitching matchup, a 3-1, strike 2 looking, a full count 3-2 to Lane Harlan. The expected matchup might be, there's a pretty good chance that either Ryan Morrill or Hudson Rhines will be the starting pitcher for Mount Vernon tomorrow. And if healthy, Will Wentz will be the starter. Payoff pitch. Foul ball. Goes by, hits the backstop behind home plate. Full count 3-2. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Trey Long going to talk to Jacob. Because at the start of the year, when Mount Vernon started playing non-conference games against Burlington Edison at the Battle of the Bridge, I think it's how you say it, one of the oldest rivalries in high school football history in the state of Washington, and that rivalry is still alive in baseball. Hudson Rhines was the starting pitcher for the game against Burlington Edison. He was the starting pitcher for the first few games of the year. The payoff pitch, foul ball, hits the fence behind home plate. Payoff 3-2.
All the confidence in the world here, 1-8.
So Riley Olmstead currently online for the loss. Jacob Gordon currently online for the win. And the payoff pitch upstairs outside, ball 4. And Mount Vernon starting things off strong with runners on first and second. Here in the top of the 6th, timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White going on to the mound. Looks like they might bring in a new pitcher, and they will. They will bring in number 20, Devin McWaters. The sophomore who, now that I think about it, has pitched in most of the home games for the Lake Stevens Vikings this year. But regardless, we'll be right back. We'll go into the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens 8, Mount Vernon 4. Runners on first and second with nobody out. And we are now back at the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens with a new pitcher in sophomore Devin McWaters, making his 6th appearance this year. As Mount Vernon has runners on first and second with nobody out for Skylar Jensen. Upstairs, ball 1 on the first pitch. And Devin McWaters making his 6th appearance. He is 0-3 with an ERA of 2.30. He has allowed 2 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings, allowing 8 hits, walking 5 batters, and striking out 3. The 1-0 pitch is a strike 1 looking, 1-1 count. And the 1-hopper to Trey Long for a ball 2. Runners don't go.
Get down ball. Get down ball. Come in. Go, Devin.
Get your hitter, Devin. Get your hitter, 2-0.
Get the big hitter. Get your big man.
And Devin looking over at second, the 2-2.
Oh, that's a great spot.
This goes inside for a ball 3. And pretty close there, a 3-1 count now. Currently Jacob Gordon, 3-1 pitch, inside ball 4. Bases loaded for the first 3 batters. And now we go back to the top of the order for the 4th time around, and for the first time against Devin McWaters, it is Travis Oord, who is 2 for 3 with 2 singles and an RBI. Travis representing the game-tying run at home plate. First pitch, strike 1, looking right down the middle. Jacob Gordon, he has thrown an inning and 2/3, allowing 3 hits, currently no earned runs, walking 1 and striking out 2 batters. And the next pitch, this one going in the right field, 1 run's going to score. And it will stay 1 run, it will be 8-5 Lake Stevens. And Travis Oord have a day, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And a timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White going on to the mound for the first time to talk to Devin. So it will be an earned run towards Finn Wilson. It'll be Ian Fitzgerald who will come to the plate. He is 0 for 3. And he is one of three Mount Vernon hitters who does not have a hit. And the other two are, ironically enough, two hitters who have played for Mount Vernon's for last year's regular season championship Mount Vernon team in Ryan Morrill and Riley Olmstead. And now we're going to bring in a new pitcher for the Lake Stevens Vikings. That'll be number 9, Tate Brust. As there will be runners, bases loaded still with nobody out. And after facing only 2 batters, Devin McWaters is out of the game. It'll be Tate Brust who will be the 4th pitcher for Lake Stevens. We'll see if he can get the Vikings out of the top of the 6th. Currently 8-5, Lake Stevens over Mount Vernon. And we are now back once again into the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens now lead Mount Vernon by the score of 8-5. The Bulldogs currently have the bases loaded with nobody out, and the Vikings getting their 3rd pitcher of the inning, number 9, Tate Brust, facing off against Ian Fitzgerald. Strike 1 looking, first pitch. Devin McWaters, he is not recorded an out. He is allowed a hit and a walk, and currently no earned runs through 7 pitches. 0-1, inside, ball 1. Game-tying run is at first base and Travis Ward.
Somebody's here.
And the 1-1 by Tate, ground ball. This one getting past the glove of Zalesko. 1 run's going to score, and that's all it's going to be. It'll be an RBI single for Ian Fitzgerald. It is now 8-6, Lake Stevens. This one going into left field. Brings up Dylan Sir, who is 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. And so both earned runs towards Jacob Gordon. Both batters that he has faced has scored, so both of those runs will go towards him. Currently no runs towards, both base runners that are on base because of Devin McWaters, they're currently on base still. So he had no base runners towards them. And the first pitch to Dylan Sir. It'll be a line drive to center field. And it'll be a two-run single for Dylan Sir, who is later thrown out at second base, and the game is now tied at 8. So it'll be an 8-3-4, and that'll be the first out. There's a runner on third at Ian Fitzgerald, so Dylan Sir with his 2nd hit of the afternoon, and he has 2 RBIs. And immediately, Mount Vernon has tied this game up at 8. The infield is in versus Ven Larson, who is 3 for 3 with 3 singles. And both batters that Devin McWaters had faced have now scored, so he now has 2 earned runs in his name. But the Vikings at least get 1 out. And Mount Vernon, after allowing 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th, score 4 in the top of the 6th to tie this game up at 8. The 1-0 pitch by Tate. Strike 1 looking. And Tate the 1-1. It'll be a foul grounder. This one rolling towards the Mount Vernon dugout. Tate ahead of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The game-leading run is at third base for Ian Fitzgerald. And Tate, the 1-2. Fly ball, that's foul. Goes over the fence. Right near the Lake Stevens bleachers. Infield is in, with all the infielders touching the border between the infield and the grass. It's touching the mound. The 1-2. Inside, ball 2. Larson, he's stepping back. He's stepping back a little bit. And watches that pitch go by. Still ahead of the count, 2-2. Upstairs, ball 3, full count.
Ray, don't have to give in. Don't have to give in.
And the payoff pitch by Tate Brust. Ball 4, and the Bulldogs have runners on the corners. And it'll bring up Ryan Morrill, who is 0 for 3. Ryan Morrill, the only batter who doesn't have a hit and has never been walked. He was struck out swinging in the second inning. He flew out to Tanner at right, and he popped out in foul territory to the shortstop Hunter Zalesko on an amazing bobbling catch. First pitch by Tate. Strike one looking.
Hey, ground ball, we're out of this. Ground ball, we're out of this. You all right, Tate? Tate!
Ready. You ready?
And Tate getting the sign from Trey Long, the catcher, is looking over at first base. And the 0-1. Tries bunting for it. Trey to throw to first and will not get Larson. As Tate throws that pitch outside as Morrill tried bunting for it. And the 1-1 pitch, tries to bunt for it, low, ball 2.
Make them execute.
And the 2-1 tries going, it goes low again, ball 3. And a 3-1 count. Morrill was deciding on whether he was trying to bunt for that one.
Roll the desk clamp, you all right?
Now 3 balls and 1 strike. Bardou moving in, and is a strike 2 looking, a full count 3-2.
Make him, let's go.
Double play right here.
And Tate, the payoff. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Throw to second. And it will airmail Braden Miller. It is caught by Hunter Zalesko as Trey throws to second. It will allow Fitzgerald to score. And Mount Vernon retakes the lead 9-8. The bases are now empty. Mount Vernon has the lead, and here's the 9th batter of the inning in Riley Olmstead. First pitch, a 1-hopper. For a ball 1.
Hell zone, kid. Come on out.
And Tate, the 1-0. Hard hit ball. This one going in the right center. Back it goes, and that is going to fall. Larson riding around third. He is going to score. And Olmstead has a stand-up 2-out double, and Mount Vernon has reached double digits. And Mount Vernon now leads by the score of 10-8, and it will bring up Finn Wilson, who hit a leadoff single that started this whole thing. And he's one of the 6 runs that scored this inning. And Tate looking over at second, outside ball 1. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White going on to the mound again in this inning, and they're bringing in another pitcher. Tate Brust now online. For the loss, they're going to bring in a new pitcher at number 25, Bailey Corley. This time, it is with 2 outs and a runner on second base and a 1-0 count to Finn Wilson. We'll take a quick break here. Top of the 6th inning. Mount Vernon 10, Lake Stevens 8. The new pitcher, Bailey Corley, on the mound. And we are now back into the top of the 6th inning. Mount Vernon, after trailing 8-4, they have scored 6 runs to take an immediate 10-8 lead. As Lake Stevens now bringing in their 4th pitcher of this inning, number 25, Bailey Corley, on a 1-0 count to Finn Wilson. Outside for a ball to Tate Brust. Currently 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits. Currently 2 earned runs, probably will be 3. And the 2-0 count, strike 1 looking. Possibly be 3 as he is responsible for Riley Olmstead. Has walked nobody and has struck out 1 batter in 20 pitches and is currently on line for the loss. Bailey Corley to 2-1. A hard hit ball. This one going in the left field. This one fly ball caught by Ben Pizer. And Bailey Corley on 3 pitches gets out of the inning. And this one will be on 6 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. No errors. And 1 runner left on. There's still a lot of baseball to play here, as Lake Stevens goes into the bottom of the 6th inning. They'll be facing Lane Harlan. It'll be Connor Bardou, Will Wentz, and Christian LaPierre. They are down by 2 runs. It is nothing different to what they were going through a couple of innings ago when they were down 4-3. Just in the last inning. But if I know these Lake Stevens Vikings, and they're not going to go down without a fight. When we come back, it'll be the bottom of the 6th inning. Mount Vernon 10, Lake Stevens 8. Lane Harlan back on the mound, facing off against Connor Bardou, Will Wentz, and Christian LaPierre. And we are now back into the bottom of the 6th inning. Mount Vernon, after trailing 8-4 to the Lake Stevens Vikings, they score 6 runs in the top of the 6th inning to take a 10-8 lead. Lane Harlan back on the mound for the Bulldogs, facing off against the number 3 hitter, Connor Bardou, for the first time this afternoon. It'll be the 4th time around for Connor in this game. First pitch from Lane. Fly ball, this one going in the right field. Number 12, Cole Williams, the right fielder, going for it. He is under it, and he will make the catch for the first out. They'll bring up Will Wentz, who is 2 for 2 with 2 singles, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a run scored. And Lane getting the sign from Finn Wilson. First pitch, strike 1 looking. And Lane, the windup, the 0-1. Hard hit ball. This one going in the center field. Ian Fitzgerald doesn't have to move that much to make that catch. And he'll go for the 2nd out of the 6th inning. And they'll bring up Christian LaPierre. He is 1 for 1 for, let's just say, an RBI triple. I'm still wrapping my head around how to call that in the 1st inning. He later got hit twice, scoring a run in the process in the 5th inning. It is now back up to the plate. First pitch, a chopper. This one going to the first baseman, Riley Olmstead. And Mount Vernon responds with a 4-pitch, 1-2-3 inning to end the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on after a 13-pitch 15-pitch 2/3 of an inning for Lane Harlan. He throws 4 pitches, all of them strikes, to end the 6th inning. Currently, Bailey Corley back on the mound in the top of the 7th inning, facing off against Lane Harlan, Skylar Jensen, and Travis Ord, as Bailey Corley once again will come back up on the mound for the Lake Stevens Vikings in the top of the 7th inning. Mount Vernon 10, Lake Stevens 8. And we are now back just as quickly as we were ending the top of the 6th inning. We're now back in the top of the 7th inning. Bailey Corley back on the mound. He's going to aim to try and pitch his first full inning this afternoon, facing off against the 8-hitter Lane Harlan. First pitch is a strike one looking. Lane, he has no official at-bat, but he does have an RBI and has scored a run as he was walked twice and got hit once. Next pitch, the 0-1, low inside for a ball one. Bailey Corley, he is pitching in his 3rd game, no wins, no losses, with an ERA of 0 in an inning and a third. He has walked 1 batter, he has allowed 4 hits and has struck out 3, and he has no earned runs. Next pitch, a ball 2. It will be an 8-9-1 of Lane Harlan, Skylar Jensen, and Travis Ord. The 2-1 line drive ball. Ooh, watch out. This one just missing, hitting the fence in the Lake Stevens dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes. As Bailey is ahead on the count. And the 2-2 pitch, fly ball. This one will stay playable. This one right on the first base foul line. It is caught by the first baseman, Will Wentz, for the first out of the 7th. They'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Skylar Jensen, who is 0 for 2. Jensen, the new 3rd baseman for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs after taking over for Ryan Morrill when Riley Olmstead left the game, or left the game on the mound. First pitch by Bailey, ground ball. This one going to Hunter Zalesko to the shortstop. It's a routine ground out on the first pitch. It's the 2nd out. And we'll now go back to the top of the order, and Travis Ord, who is as well as Sven Larson, having practically a really good game. Him and Travis and Dylan Sir. Travis Ord 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run, or 2 RBIs and a run scored. First pitch upstairs, ball 1. You have Sven Larson, who is currently 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored and a walk. And Dylan Sir, who is 2 for 4 with a run scored and 2 RBIs. The 1-0. Upstairs, ball 2. The expected pitching matchup, if everything goes smoothly for Will Wentz, will be Will versus Ryan Morrill. The 2-0 pitch, swing and a miss, strike one, another backbreaker, swing by Travis Ord, the shortstop. And Bailey, the 2-1. Fly ball, this one is out foul. And Bailey now ahead of the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's also another game in which this game jogs a few memories. This is back in 2014. Lake Stevens playing at Mount Vernon. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. And it'll be a 1-2-3 inning for the junior Bailey Corley. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on. Lake Stevens, they need to get some runs on the board. They need 2 to tie it and 3 to walk off against the Bulldogs. They're currently trailing 12-8. Lane Harlan back on the mound. It'll be facing off. It'll be best guess is still Aaron Lampinen, Hunter Zalesko, and Tate Brust unless Tanner Lind returns. It'll be the bottom of the 7th inning. Mount Vernon 10, Lake Stevens 8. One last shot for the Vikings. And we are now back into the bottom of the 7th inning. Mount Vernon leading Lake Stevens by the score of 10-8, but the Vikings have one more shot in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lane Harlan on the mound, trying to get a win. He is Lane Harlan currently online to get the win. As Riley Olmstead will get a no decision. He'll face off against Tanner Lind. First pitch, a chopper. Gets past the glove of Harlan. It'll get into the glove quickly of the shortstop, Travis Ord, on the first pitch for the first out. And a nice heads-up play, a nice hustle play by the shortstop, Travis Ord, for the first out. Brings up to our next batter, Hunter Zalesko. And Lane Harlan, first pitch, foul ball, hits the backstop behind home plate for an 0-1 count.
Let's go!
And Lane, a really good 6th inning, no balls, 4 strikes on 4 pitches. A total of 3 balls, 14 strikes on 17 pitches. Currently has allowed 8 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors, and 6 left on. The 0-1, low for a ball 1. And the 1-1 by Lane. Under the strike zone, ball 2. The home plate umpire has been dealt with the job of calling a lot of close pitches, and they have been either way. The 2-1. Foul ball, this one going over the fence, Lane ahead of the count. And the 2-2 pitch by Lane Harlan. Upstairs, ball 3, full count. And currently on deck, making his first varsity at-bat, is number 25, Bailey Corley. He is currently on deck right now. Payoff pitch. Chopper, this one going towards the Mount Vernon dugout. And Bailey Corley, right as I say that, Bailey Corley was going to make his first appearance, he steps out. And pinch hitting will be number 6, Theron Perkins. And the payoff pitch. It'll be another foul grounder. This one going towards the Mount Vernon dugout again. Theron Perkins currently on deck. He is recovering from a very minor back injury, but just as a precaution, he hasn't started in the past few games. Payoff pitch. Upstairs, ball 4. The Vikings dugout is going crazy as Hunter Zalesko will get the first on a walk.
Let's go, Theron. Do a job, kid.
And it'll bring up the number 8 hitter. Pinch hitting for Tate Brust is number 6, Theron Perkins. He had a knot in his back during practice over spring break before the Mariner doubleheader. He didn't play in the Mariner doubleheader. He didn't play in the 2 games against Kamiak. So this is his first conference game since the Cascade Series. First pitch, a foul ball hitting the fence. And he represents the game-tying run. And the 0-1 pitch by Lane low, ball 1. Theron Perkins is a nice welcoming return, but the question is, now that he can come up to the plate, when will he return to the lineup? When will he play at shortstop again? 1-1. Line drive ball, this one getting into left field. Theron Perkins, the pinch hitter. He has not played Lake Stevens baseball in a good couple of weeks, and now he returns and gets himself a single, and now represents the game-tying run at first base. Here is Braden Miller. He hit a 2-run single off of Harlan back in the 5th.
Here we go. Stroke it like you know it's home. Here we go. Kid, here we go.
Game-tying run is at first base. The game-winning run is at home plate in Braden Miller. Theron Perkins. That has to be a really good feeling right there. Theron Perkins getting a base hit and returning from injury. Pretty soon he is going to come back into the lineup. Lane, the first pitch to Braden. Inside, ball 1. And Lane, the 1-0. Inside, ball 2. Keep in mind that every time that a pitch would go, if it was a ball, then the Lake Stevens dugout would get crazier. This is what the theme has been in the past few years. Also, an update from Monroe. Cascade beats Monroe by the score of 5-1. The 2-0 pitch, strike 1 looking. Brock Gillis allowing 1 run and 1 hit in 6 innings pitched. How much you want to bet that's a Monroe homer? Because they have been pretty good with that in the past couple seasons. The 2-1. Ball 3. Runner goes to third. Did he get him? No, he didn't. Hunter steals third. Theron steals second. It was ball 3. It's a 3-1 count. And with 1 swing of a bat, Braden Miller can change this game. Hunter Zalesko looked like he was running for his life out there, getting the third base. Theron at second. Hunter Zalesko now has 5 stolen bases, tied with Connor Bardu for the most on the year. And Theron Perkins gets his 4th. The 3-1. Fly ball. This one going into center field. And Ian Fitzgerald makes the catch. Hunter doesn't go. And those 2 outs, and it brings up Ben Pizer. Ben Pizer has been one of the top performers in today's game. He's been, for the Vikings, he's 2 for 3 with 2 runs and was walked back in the first inning. Ben Pizer can change this game with 1 swing, or Lane Harlan can end this game with 1 throw. And the first pitch by Lane. Outside ball 1.
Let's go.
Lane Harlan getting the sign from Finn Wilson, the 1-0. 1 hopper to Finn, ball 2. What an amazing game this has been. So much adrenaline, so much testosterone, so much power. And they're going to intentionally walk Ben Pizer. And it'll be bases loaded for Trey Long. Trey, he is 2 for 4 with 2 singles and a run scored. Trey Long. Now up to the plate. Sorry for the long pause there. I've not felt this in a while. First pitch, foul ball. One heck of a swing right there. The 0-1 count, Trey Long with 1 swing of a bat can change this game. The 0-1 pitch from Lane Harlan. Line drive ball, gets to Travis Ord, throws to second, does he get him? Yes, he does, and the game is over. Travis Ord, he is looking over at third, he doesn't throw, looks over at second and gets Ben Pizer just in time to end the game. And what a game this has been, a seesaw battle between 2 teams that have faced off for the past few years, but Mount Vernon would get the edge here. Final score, Mount Vernon 10, Lake Stevens 8. Just makes tomorrow's game more exciting. It makes me excited for tomorrow's game. The winning pitcher will be Lane Harlan. The losing pitcher will be Tate Bruss. Mount Vernon now up to 9-4 and are 5-2 in Westco Conference play. Lake Stevens now down to 4 wins and 7 losses. And are now down to under 500 in conference play with the 3 wins and 4 losses. When we come back, it'll be Wednesday, April 18th, 2018. The Lake Stevens Vikings playing their first road game, their first true road game where they actually get on a bus and leave in a while. Or at least hopefully. I seriously hope I didn't jinx it. But the Lake Stevens Vikings go into beautiful Sherman Anderson Field in Mount Vernon, Washington. As again, the expected pitching matchup will be Will Wentz and Ryan Morrill. If Will Wentz, if his arm is better, if he doesn't have any discomfort in his arm anymore, but looks like we just have to wait and see. My name is Payne Patchett. You're listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball, and we'll see you tomorrow, April 18th, 2018, between the Lake Stevens Vikings and the Mount Vernon Bulldogs at Sherman Anderson Field.